So he was pretty much the go-to guy. He was the guy you call at 3 o'clock in the morning, get yelled at because you call him 3 o'clock in the morning, but you needed somebody to come investigate a fire. He did a lot of events, loved kids, so we got stuck with the fire prevention week and schools and taking trucks to schools and showing the little kids the fire truck. Of course, I was a go-to guy as well, so I had to go with him. He was also one that if you needed help, he'll help you out. You know, he might have not had the money, but we figured out how to do it. So he lived a good life. He helped a lot of people out, encouraged us in the fire department to do better in life. So,
He did love the young kids, though.
Yeah.
He was always, it was at any given time, I would come home and there would be tons of young guys at the house.
Or
eating,
girls.
Or girls, mostly guys, because we have a shortage of women firefighters. But he always had the young people over there. He was always trying to get them to do what they were supposed to do. I was Mama Worsham, and he was Dad. Every time. But that's where he just felt like the future. That's where it was. So he was trying to always guide them and keep them going. Obviously, he's still living on.
Oh, he's still doing it. I'll say that.
But he also, not just with the firefighters, because of the family, and that's mostly how I knew him, you know, from the family. So from a personal perspective, Rena owns a dance studio, so he was like also a dance dad. So we would really give him a hard time because he's this big old tall 6 foot
6'7".
6'7" guy, okay? And we'd have these little kids and these young students and my grandchildren look at him as a grandfather. I mean, they were just really close. And he'd go to the dance studio and sew little ballet shoes for them to fix their shoes for them so that they could, you know, he was just there for everyone. I mean, the kids loved him.
He was always the first person you called.
Yeah.
If Sarah broke down,
I always
She
have
was
to
calling.
call him. And he'd always stop whatever he was doing and always come pick me up. Or bring me something. I'd always forget my book bag. And no matter what time of day or what he was doing, he'd always go back home and get my book bag or something like that.
And we would call him for anything. If somebody wasn't feeling good, we're like, okay, well, where's our firefighter? Where's our, you know, our paramedic? You know, what's wrong with us? Check our blood pressure. We got this wrong or that wrong. And see, he liked to try to act like this big, tall, authoritarian kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't stand a chance around us. We're just like, don't use your stern voice with it. Whatever, Jeff.
aren't
Don't use
scared.
your stern voice with us.
well, he hated the name Jeffrey.
Yeah, he did.
He went by Jeff. But I call him Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it would go. And he finally just gave up on it. Well, next thing you know, everybody is calling him Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he didn't like that in the fire department.
He didn't like it.
He did
No.
not
Like,
like
stop it, stop that. And we're like,
No.
whatever.
And try and play big. And I would laugh. I'm like, you don't scare me.
But I loved it because my grandchildren, especially my youngest one, I have a little granddaughter. She's 5 now, but she just loved him. I mean, and he was so good with her, and he would take her to the fire station and let her, you know, see the fire trucks, and she really misses him. I mean, she really misses him. And every time she sees a fire truck, she's like, oh, I remember Jeffrey used to take me and go on the trucks, and he'd see her in the store. They'd run into her in Walmart. Oh, come, I need a toy.
I need a toy.
But
Come on.
But he was there for all the kids. I mean, he was there for all the kids, all of them.
Jeff was always the guy, if you needed something, if I ever needed something, he would go out of his way to get it all the time. Last year, I ended up out of a ride to school. I mean, to and from school, because he would always take me and pick me up and take me to dance, drive so far out of his way, all the way into far away, to take me to dance. And he'd always bring me food, and if he forgot food, then we would stop and get food, because I'd be cranky, then he'd get mad.
And it's like everybody in the community knew him. I mean,
we
everyone.
went to Columbia and they're like,
Any
Jeff?
place
I was
he
like,
went,
yeah.
everybody knew him because they say, "Oh yeah, Jeff, come by," because he was wasn't he the fire inspector too?
He's a fire marshal for a while.
Yeah, so he would go into town and he would come and say, "Oh yeah," I'd run into him. He's like, "Yeah, I stopped by. I saw John at work today. I had to go in and do my husband." And he just everybody knew him, and not just family. Anybody in town could call him. Friend, I mean, he would be there to help anybody. And I'm sure that's like it is with any firefighter, really.
He didn't know a stranger though. We could go in a store and we could leave and he would know a life story
Yeah.
of anyone that he happened to run into.
Yeah,
He would know everything about everybody.
yeah.
Everyone would know about him, and you would think that they've been friends forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just had that type of a personality.
He knew all-
No matter what he did, he was good at it.
He knew all the neighbors. He would stop and
Yep.
talk to them.
Yeah.
And I would get mad.
They're all best friends.
After he passed, I noticed how, like the brotherhood and the sisterhood, I realized actually how strong it is and how everybody came together. They still, like, if we need something, we needed our house pressure washed the other day, and we don't have a pressure washer, so we just called one of the chiefs, and he just came over there and pressure washed our house. Everybody hangs out together now. I think it just made us closer with the fire department.
It's like they accepted you as their family now because Jeff is gone. It's kind of like they've taken.
I mean, your family
Part of the
before.
family.
but
Yeah,
now
your
it's
family
closer.
before
but-
just made it closer.
It's like they look out for you even more.
I always respected the fire service, and I always knew it was like that being around it with him. But I will say that I have found a new respect, and now, and I will admit I was one of those wives. I would get angry at 3 in the morning when he got the phone call, and I would say, "Are you the only one in Berkeley County that can go do this? Come on." I would. I admit that. You're not human if you're not a real wife if you don't admit that. But now my advice to some of the other wives that get very upset about it, I try to instill in them. Being on the flip side, I cannot even describe to you what the fire department has done for me. They are there for me now all the time. So I try to put the flip side on them for them to understand. Don't be so hard on them, because they are trying to balance what they do with you and with the fire service because it's important.
Well, I would want everyone to remember that he was always there, no matter what or wherever we were. He was always there for you, there doing whatever we were doing. He was just always there.
I think the one thing that I would really want to remember Jeff for is that even though he was busy all the time, and he ran, and was always the first one to make that call, he was tired and worn out from it, he loved every minute of it. He loved it. And he wouldn't have done it different.
I just want people to remember that he was also loved. He loved everybody and he did everything for everybody, but he was loved not for what he did for people, but he was loved for who he was. That's what I want people to remember.